Welcome to Curious Heads. In this video I will explain you what is rocket and principles of rocket. So, let's start. What is a rocket? A rocket is a missile, spacecraft, aircraft or other vehicle that obtains thrust from a rocket engine. What is really interesting about rockets is that rockets are any motor which contains its own mass expelled and its own oxidants, so to give you a comparison. So let's look into Newton's laws of motion. First law states that an object either remains at rest or continues to move at a constant velocity unless external forces act on it. That basically means if you have an object at moving certain velocity and no other forces acting on it, so when you on this drag or friction. But if you in space something just moving with no forces act on it, it always keeps moving. No accelerate, it won't accelerate, and it won't deaccelerate. It will stay at same velocity. If you look at second law, states some of the external forces applied on an object is equal to the mass of that object, that multiplied by its acceleration. So that means, if you have mass of an object, so if you have an object whose mass should know, hence, you know its accelerate, you can know what forces that applied on it. On the other hand, if you know that same object mass and you look at force that applied it to calculate acceleration, this also means that an object only accelerate. So an object of certain mass will only accelerate when are external forces applied to it. The third law states if body A exerts a force on body B, then body B exerts an equal force in magnitude and opposite in direction on body A. It is really easy to feel that in real life actually, because if you go against the wall and stop pushing on the wall and hopefully that wall not move, and that allows you to really feel how the wall pushes back on you in exact opposite direction that you pushing on it. That is a very important concept in physics. So, cause, as their wheel turn, the wheels push on the ground pushes back the car which moves forward. So let's go into the rocket parts. A rocket has four main parts. The first part is a payload. The payload can be anything from a satellite, a warhead and human beings for the space exploration. The second part is the fuel tank, which is a huge tank filled with liquid hydrogen or any other type of fuel. The third part is a huge oxygen tank, which allows the rocket engine to operate in an airless environment such as space. The fourth and most complex part is the rocket engine. The main parts of the rocket engine are start tank. This chamber holds the material to supply pressurized gas to power up the turbine initially, and the mixing tank. The small amount of fuel and oxygen is mixed in this chamber to generate enough compressed gas to power the turbine. The power turbine is used to power the fuel and the oxygen pumps. A fuel pump is used to pump to the combustion chamber. Oxygen boost pump is used to pump oxygen to the combustion chamber. Let's talk about combustion, or what is commonly known burning. Well accomplished consists of two chemicals: the fuel, which is usually an organic compound like petrol or methane which in your house to produce heat, and oxidizer, which is usually oxygen taken from the atmosphere. This fuel and this oxygen react chemically and produce two things. First of all, heat, and that's why this kind of reaction is called exothermic. They produce a lot of heat and oxidized product, which is basically the result of this fuel. And for example in cars, this is carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, among other things. The throat. Throat is where the speed of gas reaches to the speed of the sound in that medium. The nozzle. A nozzle is where the speed of the gas increases beyond the speed of sound due to the expanded shape of the nozzle. If you look at the airplane's engine to function need the fuel, obviously, but also really you need the air in the atmosphere, and that's because they need that air to burn the fuel, and they also need that air mass to expand their back and move forward. A rocket does not need that. Rocket does not need anything external to itself to function, and that's why it can work in the vacuum of space, which is completely, almost empty. Basically in the rockets, the propellant is the fuel and oxidizer. And as they react together combustion, they create the oxidized product, which is built out the back very fast. The heat created by the reaction of the fuel and the oxidizer. So combustion, like in the car engine and an airplane engine, is like a central process within rockets. I hope you guys learned something from this video. If you did, hit that like button and If you want to check out more videos by Curious Heads, you can subscribe my channel. Thank you.